Now, let's talk about this additional modern standard of faith. The vitality of what we call Mormonism lies in its extraordinary doctrines and ordinances, in the blessings, privileges, and promises contained in the message of the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. Underestimating any of those could compromise the life of the church. Figuratively speaking, it is the sacred grove that makes lifelong converts, or that attracts lifelong converts, not the pioneer handcart. While the handcart is the symbol of an exodus based on faith, the sacred grove stands as a symbol of the faith that led to that pioneer trek across the plains. So the pioneer handcart symbolizes an exodus based on faith, but that faith started in the events that happened in the sacred grove. The church is not true because some of your ancestors crossed the plains. The church is true because God spoke from heaven, called a modern-day prophet, and through this prophet restored his gospel and priesthood to the world. The power of the message and the doctrines of the restored gospel can be ascertained by the fact that before June of 1978, people with black African ancestry who joined the church were willing to do so even if they could not enjoy the full benefits of that membership. Reminiscent of the faithful Canaanite woman mentioned in the New Testament in the book of Matthew, they would rather enjoy chunks, if you will, of the true gospel in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints than enjoy banquets of incomplete truths elsewhere in the world. When my parents and I joined the church in 1972, we did so as an act of faith. And some people think that faith and reason do not agree with each other. But looking in retrospect, in our case, our strong faith led us to see that racial concerns were secondary and temporary. We sincerely believed, we did indeed believe, that if we were faithful, God would have us in a good place in the next life, regardless of whether my father and I could hold the priesthood in this life. So the trials of faith faced by those black members prior to 1978, and we recognize those all the way back to the 19th century, speak volumes about their commitment to the restored gospel. And just as the 19th century LDS pioneers provided a standard of faithful living for future generations by their obedience and sacrifice in crossing the plains and building communities in sometimes inhospitable environments, black converts prior to 1978 added yet another modern standard of faith by joining the true faith even without the enjoyment of its full privileges. After 30 years, this additional standard poses a significant question for all Latter-day Saints. And the question is, would we remain faithful if some of the privileges of religion were withheld from us for a while? Would we remain faithful if some of the privileges and blessings of our religion were withheld from us for a while? Have we ever doubted the Lord and his promises just because a certain anxiously desired blessing was delayed or temporarily denied? Some of us desire a temple marriage, but are temporarily unsuccessful in our search for an eternal companion. Others desire children, but are unable to conceive them in this life. Or we desire the fulfillment of one of the promises in our patriarchal blessings, but we cannot see the signs of the day in which that promise will be realized. Or we have been anxiously waiting for answers to heartfelt prayers, but we receive only heavenly silence for what it feels like a long while. For all these and many others in similar circumstances, the question remains, can you remain faithful and obedient even without the realization of all your expected blessings? For all those in these conditions and similar ones, we would remember the word of the Lord to the prophet Joseph Smith in Liberty Jail, well-known passage in the Doctrine and Covenants, where the Lord said, "Peace be unto thy soul. Thine adversity and thine afflictions shall be but a small moment. And then, if thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high. Thou shalt triumph over all thy foes." With faith in the Lord, we too can triumph over the foes of our souls, such as frustration, sadness, embarrassment, impatience, hopelessness, and remain faithful until the Lord manifests his power in our behalf and grants us either the righteous desire of our hearts or an even greater blessing,